Good day, everyone. I welcome you back to Global Education Zone, the home of impactful learning. It's nice over here for you and I because learning never ends and education is the key to an impactful life. Today, our practice exercises will be based on equations and inequalities. So, as starters, let's start from example 5 on equation. So here we are asked to make R the subject of the formula. So we have of this formula, the formula is B equals the square root of 4 pi R cubed divided by 3H. So now in this case, the first step to take is to square both sides. Now when you square both sides, you have B squared is equals to 4 pi R cubed over 3H. Then next you multiply both sides by 3H over 4 pi. So the reason for that is that you want to leave R alone. You want to let R to be the subject of the formula. So that's why you are dividing and you are trying to eliminate every coefficient of R. So when we multiply both sides by 3H over 4 pi, we have on the left hand side we have 3HB squared over 4 pi equals R cubed. Now the next step is to take the cube root of both sides. So R will be equal to what? The cube root of 3HB squared over 4 pi. That's the solution of that question. Let's move on to the next question, which is 1 point. That will be example 8. Now for example 8, we are given to solve the inequality 5 minus 3x over 2 is greater than or equals to 2x plus 3 over 5. Now in this case we have the inequality. So now the first thing to do is we are going to multiply by a number that is going to eliminate the fraction. So in that case we are multiplying both sides by 10. So since 10 is a positive number, the inequality sign remains unchanged. So the only time you reverse the inequality sign is when you multiply by a negative number. So at the end of the day we have 10 open brackets 5 minus 3x close brackets divided by 2 is greater than or equals to 10 open brackets 2x plus 3 close brackets over 5. Then at the end of the day we have 25 minus 15x is greater than or equals to 4x plus 6. When we add 15x to both sides, we will have 25 is greater than or equals to 19x plus 6. Then next, when we subtract 6 from both sides, we have 19 is greater than or equals to 19x. Dividing both sides by 19 rather, you have 1 is greater than or equals to x. So then when you reverse this, the order of the equation, if 1 is greater than or equals to x, that means x is lesser than or equals to 1. So it's not only when you reverse this, when you change the sign of an equation, also when you reverse the order of an inequality. So these are inequalities. When you multiply inequalities by negative numbers, you are changing the sign, and also when you reverse the order of the inequality, you are also indirectly changing the sign of that inequality. So I hope you understand that example. Let's move on to the next section of this video where we'll be dealing with another part, and this second part we'll be dealing with simultaneous and linear equations. So simultaneous and linear equations, I'll be dealing with example 17, and this example we are dealing with we are asked to solve the simultaneous equation. Given as 2x minus 5y equals 1, and the second one is given as 4x squared plus 25y squared equals 41. Now these are two equations, and they will give us simultaneous. This is a simultaneous equation of one linear and one quadratic. So the first step to take is, first of all, you are going to make one of the variables the subject. So in this case, we are going to make x the subject from equation 1. So x equals 1 plus 5y over 2. That will be our equation 3. Now let's substitute the new value of x, which is 1 plus 5y over 2. So when we substitute that into equation 2, so when we substitute that, anywhere you see x, replace it as 1 plus 5y over 2. And that will, when you substitute that, you have 4 times 1 plus half of 1 plus 5y squared. So plus 25y squared equals 41. When you evaluate that, you have at the end of the day you have 50y squared plus 10y minus 40 equals 0. Then when you divide both sides, when you divide through both sides of the equation by 10, you have 5y plus y, 5y squared plus y rather, 5y squared plus y minus 4 equals 0. Then next, when you factorize, so you can see that they make use of one method of factorization. You can use any method of factorization of equations. So I've talked about factorization of equations in previous episode of this course. You can also check those episodes in SS1 and SS2 courses. So but today, let's complete this. So next we have, if 5y minus 4 times y plus 1 equals 0, then either 5y minus 4 equals 0 or y plus 1 equals 0. So at the end of the day, we have y equals 4 over 5 or y equals minus 1. So when we substitute for y in equation, when y equals 45, x will be equals to 2.5. Then next, when y equals minus 1, x will be equals to minus 2. Then lastly, you now represent the solution. as in the form of an ordered pair. So this ordered pair is basically there are two possible points, and this ordered pair, it gives the 2 points that the two equations will cross themselves in a in a Cartesian plane. So these 2 points are 2.5, 4/5 and 1 minus 2, minus 1. So at these 2 points they will cross each other in the equation. Now let's move on to the next question in this episode, and that will be on word problems. So let's solve word problems now. Now what we're solving on word problems, we'll be dealing with a particular question which is example 20. Now in this question we are asked to look for the length of we are told that the length of a rectangular compound is 5 meters more than the width. Now we are also told that its area is 500 meters square. So find the width and length of the compound. So this is a very simple question. Just say let the width be x. So in mathematics, when you don't know a value, you are going to assign it a variable, because that variable means that value can be assigned any constant value, but you only assign the value a constant when you have solved for it. So that means we are going to assign it a variable here. So let the width be x. X meter is a variable. Then from the first sentence, the length is x plus 5 meters. So because said from the first sentence said the length of the compound is 5 meters more than the length. So that means that's more than the width rather. So that means the width, when you add 5 meters to the width, you are going to get the length. So then the area is x times open bracket x plus 5 meters square. The reason is that the area is equal to the product of the length and the breadth. So once you've gotten an expression for the length and the breadth and the width, you are going to multiply them and equate them to the area. So in this case, x open bracket x plus y close bracket equals 500. So when we expand the equation, the left hand side, we have x squared plus 5x minus 500 equals 0. When we move the right hand side to the left, so then when we solve the quadratic equation, we have open bracket x plus 20 close bracket open bracket x plus 25 close bracket equals 0. That means x equals 20 or x equals minus 25. So at the end of the day, because you cannot have a negative length, so that means that minus 25 is an extraneous root. So that means your only valid root is your value of 20. So that means your x, which is the width, is 20. So if you are looking for the length, all you need to know is you are going to assume that the length is 5 meters more than the width. So then you are going to add your 5 meters to any value you get as a width. So in this case, when we got our width to be 20, we are going to add 5 to that 20. So the length will be equals to 25. At the end of the day, you can still check your question for whether it's correct. So as you can see, 20 times 25 gives us 500. So that is obviously correct. So that is the end of this video. Thank you for watching and see you next episode.